Live again. I don't blame the connector services to YouTube out here in New Harley. I assume we're live. Let's see if I can. Yep, okay. Because it is too dark out here for y'all to see my face, and by the time the sun rises, well, I'll be at work for over an hour. We just heading in this afternoon. We got to go by the library, drop off our checked out books, and a few coloring book pages. Because when I don't like the picture, I just go ahead and I cut it out carefully as I can, and I give it to the library to give to their little kids, or in the case of the pictures I'm bringing in, more like their teenagers, because it's like the ones I'm bringing in are from the Witch coloring book and Cult of Cthulhu. The Halloween season, thankfully. Boy howdy, it seems like 10 years ago it was starting to get cold around this time of the year, or at least starting to change over to cold. It's going to be 110 degrees in Savannah and North Carolina today, in that little area, that bubble of death. So if you're in that area, do be safe. Don't work for more than 10 minutes outside at a time, and do cool off for at least 30 minutes each time you've been outside for more than 10. Because remember, unlike cold damage, heat damage will continue to hurt you until you have brought your body back down to its ideal 98-degree temperature Fahrenheit. Someone from Not America, go ahead and give us the Celsius for that one. Because y'all know America will do anything to avoid being like the rest of the world. We'll even take ourselves right back to the early 1800s as far as justice and worker rights go. Because we're a little dumb. But I'm going to try to avoid hating too much on my very... And even if a bully's offering me a ride, I won't accept a ride from someone who I can't stand to share space with. That'll be the subject of this afternoon's walk into the library stream. I hope to collect some fun bullet points on him. Auteuil covered him first, and that's probably going to be the first documentary I start taking bullet points from. But there was a man during the antebellum South. Hello, two viewers. How are y'all doing? I'll be at work here in about an hour or so, give or take. And I'll cut the stream about a mile before to work. Till then, we're just walking on into work. How's it going, Stella Palmer? I got a work shirt in the bag. Right now, it's just, last I checked, almost 4 a.m. and currently 94 degrees in New Harley, Georgia. Feels a little too hot for 4 a.m. But it's going pretty good. I feel that. I feel that in my bones. After we get off work around 12 o'clock, we'll go live, head to the library. I'll cut the stream when I get there, depending on if anyone's there. If nobody's there, I'll ask the people working if they mind being recorded. And if they're cool with it, I'll show y'all what our library looks like. If there are people there, I might take a few pictures if I can get pictures. Just because I am proud of our local library. We really have to pitch in and work together where we can. I would be collecting garbage on the walk-in, but I'm kind of having to rush it, and I think tomorrow I might have to try to head out about an hour earlier than today. But we're still going to make it in time, I'm sure. And give co-workers proclivity to just call out. I think they'll appreciate the fact that I'm still making it in. Truth be told, if this, I would have been there an hour ago. I keep having to stop on occasion to let cars pass on the proper side, because if not, they'll just hit me. Hello, Toast. How are you doing today? I didn't really find anything worthwhile to talk about in the Ciro's TV covered a different creator, and honestly, I like the way he did the coverage because, one second. Yeah, see, that's what slows me down is I have to wait for people to pass so I can walk safely again. But He covered a creator, and the topic the dude was covering was pretty heavy, but I disagreed with that creator. I agreed with Saros, and the only thing I disagreed with was the dumbing down matter, because they don't have them. It's like saying your AI had its feelings hurt. Chat GPT was hurt by you. No, it wasn't. Much like advertisers, those things don't have feelings. So again, the subject was self-harm, and apparently instead of saying self-harm, something that I find already ambiguous as hell, and that's what I said in his comment section, well, really, self-harm is just socially unacceptable self-harm. You take a knife to yourself, and that's terrible. We need to get you mental help. But you get home every night from work and kill your liver with 6 beers or 12 beers or 24 beers, depending on how deep into your addiction you are. Depends on how much libation you need. And that's self-harm. Ditto for all of my coworkers who claim that Jesus is the way, but then suck down cancer sticks like they're going out of style. And again, this is no judgment, because hell, I smoked back in the day, you know? Yeah, the signal's kind of crappy through here. I almost dream. We've got storms incoming. Possibly today they'll hit around while I'm at work, so might be a damp stream walking home, but we'll still give you one. Whenever I walk these streets, I try to stream it so everyone can see. Also, you know, we call out positive things when we see them. It's just, I live in New Harley. If you own a business in New Harley, you'll probably be quite happy here. If you're a person with a family working for said evil corporations, get back to work, peon. You don't have feelings. Back to work, automatons. Like I said, our boss, after working at a restaurant for over 5 years, I finally saw our boss's boss the other day, because the fuse box was hot to the touch and half the restaurant's lights were out. It had been like this for over 2 days. And he just pops in, says hi. So is it always like this? And I'm like, yeah, kind of. You run a busted restaurant. Why don't you fix it? Because you don't let me do it. Even if I had the manuals, even if I had the training. And I don't, so I won't. But even if I did, your contract prevents me from touching this machinery. So why don't you hire competent repair people? Or check in on your repair people? Or do anything? Yeah, I think I pissed off my boss's boss. But, you know, I'd always be honest. To a fault. I hear a puppy, but I don't see one. It's kind of like a shark. If I see it and I see that it's restrained, I ain't worried about it at all. It's when the shark's in the tank and you don't see it that you should be worried. King Shark is a shark. Oh, sad face, that's either a squirrel, a bat, or a stuffed animal. Possibly a rat. We have had lots of big rats in these areas now. It's a squirrel. Mostly due to the fact that they've been getting rid of a lot of space and land. Poor little wild fella. I would move him if I could, but I have no gloves or anything with which to move the poor fellow. Sad part of not having any of my stuff with me today, on account of I'm about to put an extra odometer after work to head up to the library. Boy, howdy, it'd be nice to have public transit out here, you know. We do have Bartow Transit, and it only costs $1, and you only have to make your reservation a week in advance. And, you know, the other side of it is if I work the full 12-hour shift at work, they can't help me because after like 1 o'clock, they don't come to this section of town again. So it's like, you know, if only we had effective transportation in this city. But I mean, at least we have business owners that can own 2, 3 RVs, lake houses, riverfront properties. Are succeeding, right? One day we'll have to answer for our crimes. I just don't know to whom. Also, apparently the Google news articles were warning me about a tsunami, and all I can think is, I'm on the other side of the mountains in Georgia. You need to be warning the folks down in the swamps. Then again, I hope, 1 minute, we have a new friend. slowly moving off the road. I'm not going to touch him because he is a danger friend. Let's avoid stepping on him too. But that'll make a very certain type of butterfly. If you saw the cocoon, yep, that was him. Well, that was probably one of his cousins. I would love the first rule being that I dump food in the parks for the animals. I just try to not have designated feeding spots. I try to spread it out and I try to put it away from people in the road. Like I said, I'm doing my part as small as it is, and I hope y'all are taking part in doing what you can. It's not the big things, though they're awesome. Little things will be what helps us. Because, I mean, y'all, real talk, you and I, we're not going to make a difference in this fight. Not when Bezos is making factories that literally bring a town's heat index up by 10 degrees. Run the most asinine of systems that could be, you know, kind of useful, but AI and large language things of that nature could be trained, could be worked with, I think, to make a purpose. The problem is that they've all been put to use by lonely idiots who basically want a bang maid. And even though they don't have the maid portion yet, they can now get a robot to talk to them like a Kennedy while they whack it. This is the future we get to live in. 110 degrees today, but at least little fucking Lord Liechtenstein gets to fucking whack it to his robot fucking girlfriend. Sorry, not even a robot girlfriend. Gets to bang it to his ChatGPT girlfriend. What happened, y'all? What happened? How do we get here and how do we get out of it? Yeah, I always lose my viewers when I start talking. See the low cloud formation over there if you were here walking with me. The wind is already picking up and it's mildly nerve-wracking because it's picking up in a spiral of sorts. I'm not gonna freak out yet because, well, let's face it, if that's the case, I'm fucked either way. I don't see anything that would resemble it. And the wind does feel nice. That 90 degree or 80 degree temperature is finally going away a bit. And now that all the light pollution's gone, I don't see any funnels forming, which is a good thing. I just don't like how typically when I'm walking on this road, you're constantly getting hit by the wind, but it's either blowing your hair forward or back. It's not frequently that I feel like my side's getting hit by wind, even when I have coverage on my sides. That's why I'm getting a little worried. But understanding how wind works, it could just be the flows getting deflected by the trees. I reckon this will be the spot to know it because we should feel a distinct drop in the pressure if... Okay, good. If it was something to be worried about, we would feel a distinct drop in pressure because whatever would be getting ready to form would be getting ready to form that way. And it really wouldn't matter what kind of debris is on this side because it would be the wind is spiraling over there. Similar to water in a tank. Once it starts, there's not really a way to offset it. And if that happened, well, then again, dear friend, I reckon this will be my last stream because we're back here in bumfuck Georgia. If I were to run up to that house and be like, hey neighbor, it's a cyclone, you don't care, they'll shoot the messenger. This is a bumfuck stupid area of people. Look at how rich they are if you want to see how lacking in human empathy they are. Also, I have to correct a few things from the previous streams for anyone watching from the future. I would like you to house the homeless on your yard, friends. But sadly, if you live in Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, or my own state of Georgia, friends, you can only camp out on your yard 7 days out of a year. And that's 7 days total. On the 8th day you're camping out on your yard, they will arrest you for camping paraphernalia and for lewd public conduct or some other shit they'll tack onto it. But you're not even allowed to do your own little, Boy Scout camp out thing for more than a week. And that's over the entirety of the year. That's not, oh, well, I can't camp out for a week, so be it. I'll just do it 2 days here and a day. No. 7 days total out of 365. You can only park an RV in your yard by state decree now for around, about a month. And you cannot allow anyone to live out of it. So, yeah, y'all, it's a war on poverty. And much like has been raised the question so many times in the past, which side are you on? Because I, for one, would choose to fight it. Unfortunately, I'm about with the unhoused now. David and I live in an all right place, but we do have a landmaster. And if we oppose them in any way that they find upsetting enough, due to it being Georgia, they can just throw us out on our ear for any given moment at any given time. Because again, we're a broken country. How do we fix these? Well, I'm glad you asked. 11 of you now. Hello, Spider Gwen. Hello, Edmund Osorio. How are you all doing? Well, I now have people in the audience. Well, I'm glad you asked, how do we fix it? Simple enough. We start choking out the parasitic companies. Find out who your landlord is and talk to them. In the case of the park I live at with Bear Beater, our landlords aren't our landlords. They used to own it, but they sold it to a corporation and they won't tell us who. I can find it out given time, and I will eventually, but isn't that a little weird? Y'all should check into that in your own area too. Because if you know your landlord, you can talk to them like they're human. And yes, most of the time, we can work something out. You can give them an extension on the rent. You can do whatever for a situation around you. Robots, AIs, corporations, they're about that bottom line. You ain't got the rent? Well, that sucks. Bye. And normally, again, that's capitalism, baby. That's why we fight that shit. But in today's economy, it's no longer just capitalism. You can't, if I suddenly fall due to it being 90 degrees and I've been about 3 miles so far, if I suddenly fall out and take a nap, say underneath that very comfortable looking tree there, I can be arrested and sent to a camp for public loitering. Now, will that happen due to my skin tone? Probably, possibly not. But vagrancy is now a crime that is an arrestable offense. We should be acting accordingly. Because the cops, they're not just gonna, I've been harassed myself. And I work about every day that I'm out here. I'm either heading to or from work or otherwise handling some business. But yeah, I've been harassed several times. It kind of sucks. The only way we can beat it is step one, talk about it and don't stop. The first step to admitting you have a problem is admitting there's a problem. But just my thoughts of the day. Hello, nice slice. How's it going? Yeah, I reckon I'll stick around for a minute since people are showing up now. Typically this early, there isn't much to show. Unfortunately, a baby possum up the road is gone. But on the bright side, friends, 1, he went fast, it looks like. 2, it was a he, so the species is going to be all right. It'll keep marching on. And 3, possums typically have 3 to 6 pups. I've seen 1 so far, and that makes me sad. That means there's still 4 or 3 or 2 out there kicking around, hunting down deer ticks, taking out the flea population, some of which might have the bubonic plague, as that is starting to come back. But don't you fret if you're worried that you won't get to experience the fun disease train we're on, because if you're in Georgia, STDs, particularly gonorrhea, is on the rise. On top of that, there have been more rabies outbreaks in national parks as well as on roads this year more than ever before. Probably because, funding to the people that are meant to be out here taking care of the land has been cut substantially. And, most people, no offense to the people, wouldn't know how to handle a rabid animal if they saw it. Wouldn't even know if an animal was rabid or just being strange. So I get it, but at the same time, when you cut your funding in public works for sake of giving billionaires more money, all you're going to get is the bad. We moved from the roaring 20s and no Al Capones and no figures have come to fight them. So now we're moving from the 1920s back to the 1600s. And now they're deciding if birthright citizenship will continue to be a thing. And hell, the president straight up said, and then we'll send immigrants to their owners and back to the camps at night. What's that sound like, y'all? Y'all ain't stupid people if you're here in my audience. What's that sound like to y'all? To me, sounds a whole lot like the white man's trying to bring back chattel slavery. To me, it seems like we need to be in not open rebellion, because that'll just get us crushed. But we need to be, at the very least talking about our pedophilic president trying to hearken back to the forgotten, bygone, broken ways of the South that led to the most bloody battle we have ever seen on our shores. A battle where, in fact, brother did kill brother. But I won't weep for a single slaver who was murdered, because fuck those people. And if the time comes that it must be done again, I stand 10 toes down on, well, fuck those people then. Any man that would say they have the right to own another is not a man worth spending any time with. Period. Point blank, done with that conversation. And Mini Minute Man brought up something that I always found neat. My dog's name is Alice. As a childish game, I typically find rhyming things to go with her name, and it amuses the crap out of her. So, I did notice recently I called her Mallymo, and then finally Allimomus, and then I started thinking back to when I was a kid, and they constantly said, Alamo, remember the Alamo, all that. Okay, Fluffy, 999. Happy? I feel like I'm quoting that one thing from Inglourious Bastards. But, either way, Alamo. We're told to remember it. I too will now not forget the Alamo, when a bunch of nationalist cunts, racist pieces of shit, slavers, tried to conquer the good state of Mexico. They got pushed right the fuck back. Some they always talk about with remember the Alamo, but they never bring it up. All those slaver cunts died like cowards. There was no grand outpouring of that one. They were blasted apart by cannonballs. They died soaking in their own blood and shit, crying out probably for their mamas. And that's another thought I want y'all to take with you today as a happy thought. Sometimes evil people get what they deserve. And yeah, when that time eventually comes, cherish it. Don't remember it as a bad thing. They might be releasing I cannot believe I'm saying this. I hope I'm not saying it wrong. It feels like I'm saying it wrong. I'm not trying to. They might release Ghislaine Maxwell. Promise that's her name. Really fucked up. I don't know why that's her name. But maybe her parents knew what a shitheel she would be. But they might be releasing Ghislaine Maxwell to tell the world that Mina Fiore is not a pedophile. Mina Fiore might be racist, but Mina Fiore would never girls at the Miss America pageant, nor rape his wife, nor rape any of the numerous women who have 32 plus allegations against him. Mina Fiore is a very good Führer, and he cut off that pedophile from his country club that he recruited women from as soon as he knew, a couple months after he knew, that he was a pedophile. So just saying, y'all, don't judge Trump as a pedophile that he is very really trying to distract you from. And Hulk Hogan is dead. Be happy that a dead racist can no longer bother anybody. A dead racist who could have had a wonderful career and a legacy and instead traded it for just being a dead racist. He died a couple days ago, heart attack, big surprise. I would be more concerned about his numerous victims, being that he was a scabby rat bastard, and he frequently, turned on other wrestlers and ratted them out to the higher ups. Because understand, nobody likes that shit. Nobody likes a scab rat. Don't do that shit. Your bosses don't care, and they won't care. There is nothing you can do to make your betters care about you. If you need more evidence of that, they're making van life illegal too, y'all. Unless, of course, you live out of your van for fun and you own the land your van is on. They have now designated that van life cannot be counted as trailers, so they're now about to start moving vans out of the trailer parks. While that is bad, they're also going to be making it to where all the free spots you used to go, like the Lowe's, like the Home Depot, like the Walmart. Well, now if it's an RV, you have about 2 hours. If it's a van, you have until they spot you. But again, it's going to be total stealth camping from now on for anyone who has to survive that way. I do not yet know how Cracker Barrel is, as it is clear on the other side of town. And I don't have contact with any of them without a vehicle to get over there. I would like to check in on them to see if they're still a last bastion of Southern hospitality, or if they, like the rest of the capitalist pigs, have decided to outlaw those who are unhoused, whether they like it or not. Because that's the other thing that pisses me off about some of the people I work with and a lot of the people out there. Who's Jen? Hello, I'm in Georgia. And that's also sad. I'm sad. But no, y'all, it's, like I said, I'm not saying open rebellion, because that would just have us being defeated. I will say I'm happy to report that the Marines are behaving better than I was expecting. Genuinely, y'all, we have stepped forward at least a little. Because during the Vietnam War era, when Nixon was drafting people in by the fucking truckloads, yeah, the Marines were there on college campuses to crack open students' heads and open fire on protesters. Piles of dead bodies getting pulled out of colleges and the like. All for the glory of the empire. And it could have been that way in LA, but the Marines just basically, and we're never going to hear those stories. Our children and grandchildren might if America stands that long, but I doubt those files are going to get released, and I kind of hope that I live long enough to hear when they finally do. Because I just want to hear how the Fuhrer was, no, open fire on the protesters. Sir, we're not going to do that. We will stand here as your sign of force, and we will tear gas them, but we're not going to use live rounds on American citizens. What are you, fucking nuts? Because much like when he did his big birthday, I'm a big man celebration and parade, y'all, have you seen when the military goes out and shows off how they can march in straight lines? And it's almost unnerving how robotic their movements are. Yeah, that's lockstep. That's years and years and months of learning how to move cohesively together. Now watch what Meine Führer's birthday parade looked like. That looked like high schoolers barely able to stay in marching step. What I'm saying is the military's already turned on the Fuhrer, and I think we should all be happy for that. Now we need to keep pushing the rest of the gutless ones to turn on him as well. Because again, if you don't turn on the Fuhrer because he's a pedophile, I would say we're done, you know? I'd say we basically need to cut those off because there's no helping them. There's no fixing that. That's, you saw a serial abuser and said, but not my serial abuser. Because remember, as long as we're having these wonderful victory laps, we need to also remember, P. Diddy is going to prison for about maybe 10 years. And then he'll be out doing more baby oil parties and molesting more kids and hurting people. And of course, he'll be going after everyone who testified against him, because that's also an American tradition. And we're going to do nothing about it, I guess, because that's what we do as a society. As long as the predator has enough money, well, they're not doing anything wrong. I mean, look at the world's plastics or whatever CEO he was that recently got acquitted of the 12 plus murder of his employees. Because when Hurricane Helene was rolling in, he kept them there for 3 hours after the emergency sirens had already said, hey, get the fuck out, get to high ground, GTFO. And that corporate head from his safe place far away from them said, yeah, but just stay at your station. The world needs its plastics. So he got 12 of his employees killed that way, completely acquitted of their murders. And they might get him in civil court, any ones that survived. Any ones of them that had family might be able to get him in civil court. But that's assuming they have lawyers that'll take the case. Because as much as you would think it'd be open and shut, you're looking at years and years of hard litigation and, well, what is a human life? Well, would they have chosen to evacuate? Yeah, they begged to go. It was just they were told if they left, they would be fired. And most of those people, well, myself and where I work at, we can't afford to be fired. Not for a fucking day. And that was back when we had a system that wasn't enably predatory towards us. But that's also another weird one. It's where like self-harm wraps around into alcoholism and such. Because again, if you do it to yourself, but it's over a prolonged period, well, that's not only socially acceptable, that's cool, man. That's a cool thing. That's a cool crime. But if, again, you know, you jump into traffic or you cut yourself, well, that's self-harm and that's dangerous and gross. I'll be right back with y'all, whoever's still here. Oh, well, I think that I'm heading to my work right quick. I work in fast food, in this case, the breakfast shift. I gotta pee. Give me a moment. I'm going to the Porta-John here. For sake of clarity and brevity, I figure I should point that out. That way, none of the pigs that happen to watch this channel down the road try to get me for indecent exposure or any of the various other sex crimes they can bust you for just walking the fuck about at night. While it has never happened to me, dear friends and neighbors, I have known people got busted for peeping, and they wasn't doing no peeping, they was walking down the road. But you know how rich folks are. They're so self-absorbed, they think they're the center of your world, too. Yeah. And yeah, y'all, I'm walking partially out of the joy of the game, mostly out of necessity because I work in Cartersville on the outskirts. And I live in New Harley, which unfortunately means I go through this ritual every day I work. And if I'm super lucky and if I don't upset Master, well, then maybe Master will give me a ride home at the end of shift if I stay all shift, you know. Y'all get how it is. My bosses can't be expected to give me a ride to and fro from work. I mean, you should have seen how one of them freaked the fuck out when I pointed out, well, if you want me to wear a uniform, you should provide it. We sell that. You should purchase your uniform like everyone else. Yeah, but it's not exactly high fashion. So it's like, why do I have to buy something I won't wear outside of this place? It's like my mama always said and my daddy always said, if you having to pay to work somewhere, well, son, that ain't a business. That's a pyramid scheme. Get out of it. It's not healthy for you. And I get it. Well, you got to have a uniform. How are they supposed to know that you're a lesser person than them if you're not wearing a uniform? Well, yeah, I feel you, but we're not. And a lot of people got a lot of attitude for... Yeah, I can say it. Fuck it. I don't do it, and you can test everything I make. But, yeah, a lot of people get you big attitude with these high schoolers and these ragged-ass tired adults. And y'all eating something that looks an awful lot like spit to start with. Because these motherfuckers ordering damn near raw eggs, and it's like... But they ordering it with an attitude, and I'm just like, Someone clearly didn't see the Kevin Spacey movie Still Waiting. Or Waiting. Or Dogma, or Clerks. And I feel like, you know, as much as people bitch about the schools not teaching you how to do your taxes, they totally did. You motherfuckers just didn't pay attention in health class. But, yeah, we had career day, y'all. I remember it in 3rd fucking grade. It's when I figured out then that, oh, okay, so all my dreams are dead now. What am I supposed to do for the rest of my life? I wanted to be a zoologist. Specifically, I wanted to work at the zoo. But I lived out here in New Harley then, too. And yeah, y'all, do you know how much college to be a zoologist costs? And that's just to, like, be the one that tends to the zoo animals. You get to be the fancy poop scraper. I can't afford that shit. I'm proud for anyone who can, for the record. This isn't dogging experts. Listen to the experts. This is dogging a terrible capitalist system that puts a paywall on education. Because we all watch Star Trek, but nobody's willing to admit that's just functional socialism. Everyone works for the betterment of the society, and everyone gets what they want because basically that's how we get a better society. Happy, well-fed workforce makes happy, well-fed products. Happy, well-fed products, happy society. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Otherwise, you have what we have right now, which is capitalist society. Look at all these working schmucks. Just like me, but a little different. They get to have the fancier houses closer to the city. But still, working schmucks. I guarantee you, every one of them is right now either half-dressed or half awake, puttering through, getting their coffee together, getting their shit. Maybe she's getting a dress. Maybe he's putting on slacks. I'm not a Disney character, but I try to burst into song for comedic effect. Either way. And then you got these motherfuckers who, maybe they doing it at night. Maybe they just got in and they got their nap going, because here in about 8 hours, they're going to have to get out and go slave for the corporations. My problem is, y'all, who are these corporations? And more importantly, why should I or you or anyone give a fuck about them? Because I be honest with you. Yeah, I shop at Walmart when I don't have another option. But Sam Walton been dead for longer than I've been alive. And CEOs. I mean, there's a real problem. And we all used to talk about it like a fuckload in the 90s and early aughts. Every hippie was, dude, money's the root of all evil, man. But we still, woohoo, Rihanna just made $1 billion. Yeah, our girl made it. So which is it, fellows? Is money bad, or is it something to be celebrated? Because me, I think it's a tool. And I think it's weird that we live in a world needing houses and farms, and we let all these rich fucks basically put all the hammers, rakes, and shovels in their tool sheds. Money's not a status symbol. It doesn't make you better than anyone else. It don't make you worse than anybody else. It really is just stability. It's insurance. It's knowing that if your car gets hit by some yahoo getting off at the bar, you can afford to get a new car and get to work the next day and not be stuck walking. It's knowing that if you get hit while walking in, you'll have the financial stability to go rest, get healthy again, and go back at it fully charged. As opposed to, let's be real with it, I've been hit before, and I was back at work the day after I got hit by a drunk driver. Because when you work in fast food, especially if you're not in management, well, homie, you don't miss no days because you can't afford to miss no days. Unless you're like some of my parasitic coworkers like Alan, who basically lays out because he's drunk and then hits his sister up for cash every other payday. Meanwhile, she's taking not only his shifts, but looking for other work. And for the record, I'm not judging Alan. He's struggling with a fucking problem I've seen in the mirror before. Alcoholism's an ugly thing in this country, and it's very socially acceptable to be an alcoholic. In fact, the one way I stopped drinking constantly, one, I swapped the alcohol for caffeine. I drink more coffee than anyone else on my feed. I promise y'all that. But on top of that, I also started thinking, well, I mean, it's only a little heroin. Who cares? Just shoot your needle up, right? It's just a little heroin. Who cares? It's just a little thing, you know? No, that'd be fucked up, right? That would be a, whoa, dude, what the fuck? It's just a little meth pipe, just a little crack pipe in the middle of the day. Who cares? Start treating your addiction the way you would theirs. And understand a little bit that your addiction isn't that different than theirs. It's just meth head, you can go pick up a 20-pack of yours at the store and at any store. Whereas with them, they gotta, hunt in the more nefarious places. And that isn't a call to legalize all drugs, for the record. I think that weed is fine, and I think that you should be able to try any drug you want in a safe medical setting where we can basically watch your ass for a bit. You get to go do your heroin, then bounce around the room for a while, and then decide when you're ready to come back and join society, Or not. Some people will choose to die in the big squishy room, and that's sad, but y'all, there's no afterlife. There's no, we're getting ready for the next no, there's no next chapter. When the meat suit drops, when your brain says done, you're done. It'll be like sleeping, but no dreams. It'll be like if you've ever been under anesthesia. If you've been under it, that's what death feels like, but different. It's like that, but you don't wake up afterwards. So I say people should get to live their best life. Now, granted, again, I really hope nobody chooses to just do a fuck ton of bad drugs and stay in the squishy room forever. But that should be an option for people if they want it. Ditto for all my well, under socialism, they'd just be a bunch of lazy fucks. Maybe for a little while, because everyone that's been so overworked and overtaxed will finally just get to sit down for a minute and go, wait, you mean I don't have to? You mean I can just fucking rest? Yeah, until you feel better and ready to come back, just go take you a break, take you a nap, take you a $5. And I still have food. Yep, you will still have as much food as you require or more if you want more calories to build something better. And I won't be nope, you will not be homeless. We have homes. It'll be an apartment complex if you don't want to work, but it'll still be, you'll have safety, you'll have stability, you'll have air conditioning in the summer and heat in the winter. And watch how society grows, y'all. It wouldn't be a collapse. It would be a budding like we've never seen. It would be a renaissance, but so much better than the smelly fairs. That's not fair. I'm being a little bit bitter to Dragon Con and the various things that I haven't gotten to enjoy forever because I be poor. And it's just not as much fun to go there when you can't do anything but walk around, Or that, is entertaining once you get in the door. And I get it, rent cool shit. I'm not knocking the shows, but at the same time, I'm too poor to even tip the barely balanced folks when they're doing their fun stunts. And it don't feel as good watching these folks put their lives on the line, sometimes literally, and then not even be able to. It's not a, hey y'all, welcome back. I truly hope that once this gets into the YouTube thingy, and it loops, they take out all the chunky and broken parts. That's just because we're out here in the boonies country, and all the country music songs is muy bueno. City life is fucking awesome if you're in a good city. You have community, you have places you can go, you have third places. Likely your job is within 4 miles, and if it isn't, you have safe walking. Hell, I'm out here making sure I don't see anything rabid, and if I do, I'm gonna smack it over the head with the shit I'm 4 library books, a bunch of coloring book pages for the kids at the Color Our World. They have a summer reading program still going on, by the way. Still not too late if you want to go read a few fun books. But I'm gonna drop off a few coloring book pages there, possibly a few coloring books in the future. But I'm also going to be dropping off a book on gardening that I've got all the information and notes I need to out of, and dropping off the books that I checked out recently: Green Gorilla, Southern Ecology of the Wetlands, Ecology, The Pocket Guide, all that. Right now, I'm getting ready to go in and prep all the food at the place I work. Don't I look sexy for work? Yeah, my work uniform's also in the bag because it's 90 degrees out here, y'all. When I say it feels like hell, it feels like hell. It's dark and hot and sticky. The winter, when it's dark and cold. Either way, y'all, I'm almost there. This is the last bit of light we're going to get before I get to work. And I kind of got to rush because I'm kind of going to be a few minutes late. But at least I'm showing up, right? Ooh, woo. Yeah, my baby kind of looks like I'm getting ready to hurt people. Nope, I do not do it. I do not have the doe eyes. Either way, y'all be good, be safe. Remember, if you're hiking at night, try to wear something reflective. Boy, howdy, I wish I had something reflective. Also, stand in solidarity, all that. Don't be a scabby rat. That way, when you die, unlike Hulk Hogan, we can say somebody will have missed you. I'm not saying live like you're dying, but live as if you have something worth losing, you know? Be safe out there, y'all. This should go public right after I'm edited, and hopefully the Skippy bits will be gone. I love y'all. Be well. I'll probably start streaming around 12:30ish, 12 o'clock, depending on when I get out of there. Be good, and above all else, stay safe out there. It is not a safe country anymore. If you're in America, it's officially a dangerous place again. Act accordingly, be safe, keep your head down. Love y'all, be good. I'm hitting the button now. Damn it, YouTube. There we go. I never get to sign off right.